Thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing this dating game and how best to date, when to date, how long to date, and how do you even know when to take it to the next level. We have Peace on the phone. Good morning, Peace. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I think there's no time frame to because no matter how long you stay with somebody, after marriage you still discover new things.
Exactly.
That you don't know. Yeah. I so much believe if you're mature to marry, you have to be ready to take anything that comes. That's maturity. And you see all this issue of divorce and all those people are not mature enough to handle marriage. Because when you are ready as a mature person, whether a lady or a male or a guy, you should be ready to take everything. I think that's my contribution.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Peace.
Thank you for the last
Yes,
comment.
Nyma.
That's my definition. So while I wasn't dating, I used to tell myself, these are breaking points for me, what they call them. And if this doesn't happen, or if I ever witness this in the marriage, I get a divorce. It's an option that I'd always made open. And people used to find it ridiculous. If I don't date you and I'm getting to know you while I'm married to you, you cannot come and bring what I cannot bear. And say, because marriage must work. There are certain things that when you know this one, like all the ones that we took some stories back, that we are discovering now is becoming not popular. You leave the marriage. You don't run yourself into insanity trying to cope with things that you can't deal with. And it's okay. Till people get to understand, you let them judge. When they finally do, they will understand. There's also the part that the writer, Kenneth Okonkwo, was talking about. I think he was addressing girls who had men give them standards. Men who will say, I for marry you, but you know they need down, reach down. I for marry you, but the other girl washes for me. I for marry you, but you know Sabi cook. You never hear ridiculous things. I for marry you, but I was sick the other day and you didn't show up. You know, you don't have a life when you're dating somebody. If the person will marry you, he will know he will marry you. You don't have to prove anything. And see, this that goes both ways. Is from a man to women. I hope the women don't forget the message. Because when you now start to hear, you see, your job makes you do shifts. I don't want a woman that's not available for my family. What thing they toast me for? Why are you wasting time? Don't disturb me. Or someone will say, you know, maybe you should add some weight. You're too thin. Yeah, there are people. Please, I shouldn't have attracted you in the first place. Yeah. There's another worse one that I cannot understand to people like me. Your hijab is just too long.
Like, why are you
here? Make it a scarf. I say, eh? I force you.
All right, let me take this call. I'll come to you. Good morning. Are you there?
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay. I would like to contribute.
Yes, please.
And this question, like a man she's not supposed to date for a long time. It could be vice versa too. Yes. So I will take myself as an example. Before I got married, I was dating someone for 5 years. And there were lots of red flags that I saw. So I left. And the reason why I left was because the guy started dating me. There were some questions I asked him concerning his previous relationship. And I saw that he was doing what he was doing to me, to those ladies. And I ended it. I didn't look back, and now I am happily married. Secondly, another of my friends, she dated this guy for 12 years. I remember when we were in secondary school, that was when they started dating. And if I tell you that, okay, as an early this year, she called me and she was crying, so many things the guy was doing to her. And I'm like, these are red flags. Why are you still holding back? Well, long story short, this girl committed suicide. Okay, the guy actually impregnated somebody else, did introduction with the person, and she heard outside. So the thing really affected her. She was depressed. We all ran helter-skelter, but she committed suicide. So we, both men and women, we need to know when you are seeing red flags. I used to tell myself something. No matter how much a man will like me, they won't love me more than my parents. They cannot love me the way my parents would love me. So we all need to be very careful. Life goes on. Now, the man, I'm sure the girl would have given birth, would have come.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Yemi. Yes,
I think there's an attitude that I see mostly in younger girls, where they think that so this marriage is about being chosen. He has chosen me. He has picked me. You know this kind of game where they sit and then the person will choose different people in the game. So they chose me, so you're happy. And now that they have chosen you, now you're on this side. You don't want to leave no matter what you see there. So you've forgotten that you too can do a choosing. You can decide to choose that person as well and decide to choose to stay or choose to leave. You know, there's this, and it goes into, you know, when we grow older as well, where people are asked to stay in marriages or relationships, even when everyone can see how physically and mentally and emotionally you're being almost tortured by someone that claims to love you. So we need to tell younger girls, when you're going to the relationship, you choose each other.
Yeah.
You also determine how long you want the relationship to go. So you can have that conversation. You know what? I'll be done with university in 2 years, and I'm looking to see if I would like to be married in the 3rd year. Is that a plan that you have? He may not have a definite plan, but he will tell you his plans. So, oh, I prepare, immediately after university, I'm traveling for my master's, and after my master's, I'm traveling for my PhD. Then you know that maybe your paths are not going to, you know, meet at any point. So you can then choose to stay out of that relationship and then follow the one that will bring you happiness. You don't have to stick in the relationship just because you have been chosen the first time around.
See, okay, fantastic point. I like that. Let's take Temitope. Are you there?
I am.
Good morning. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Concerning the topic, I think what I'm just going to add is that there's no manual to relationship, honestly. There's no manual, because for a person, I dated someone for like years, and it was so perfect for me. To me, I feel like, yes, this is the person. After like some months, I feel like, yes, it was not working anymore, because he's a Muslim, I'm also a Christian, but I was willing to do a lot of things for him. But his family were giving me issues already in the relationship. All of a sudden, I met this one person, and I'm married now. I met my husband, and we dated for like during the period of dating. So we have conversations, like conversation, you know that, yes, this is it for me. Because you have conversations that have your best at heart. Conversation like, let's go and eat. No, conversation like when I talk about my business, even when I'm less concerned about it. You see talking about, oh, what about your business? What about this? Have you done this? Have you done that? I'm like, oh, can I still remember? It's like, yes, I have it in mind. Have you done, what are your plans?
Thank you very much, Temitope. You know, I mean, I always tell people that I think I had a bit of fun. I mean, right now, I'm an adult and I'm content. I'm not looking for anything outside, because a lot of the fun, everybody's, how people are defining fun. I've lived a bit of life. So I feel I would like to encourage people to enjoy your young years, date, have fun, explore. Because that's what I did.
No,
I mean,
you did not explore sexually. You don't go and say it, and they will think it's... She should define it.
No, of course not, but I had different kinds of people in my life, and I had fun. So I think also a lot of people always like, there's something I missed out. I mean, I've never for a second feel that I missed out on anything. There's nothing you want to use to bamboozle me. I'm done. I've been there, done that. I've moved on.
Okay, so you don't need to be there. Perspective, Mariah's perspective, take wisdom where you see wisdom. There's no rule to relationship, but wisdom is universal, you know. Let me first address what Mariam said, which is very, very important. You are not, nobody is choosing anybody. This sacrifice that women make because they want to be married, you would spend your money, you would spend your time, you would serve because you want to be Mrs. It's not worth the sacrifice. Yes, marriage is beautiful, but it is not worth the sacrifice if it is not a mutual relationship. It must be mutual service, mutual love, mutual sacrifice on both sides. Enough of this servitude that is sold to us in terms of this is what marriage is, number one. Number two, you don't need to experience and explore. You know, I did not experience and explore. But when I saw my husband, I knew my husband was we were going to groove all the groove together. We are still grooving it till forever and ever in Jesus' name. Amen. It was the groove. I knew he would take me out. I did not go clubbing as a single girl. You know, I always tell my husband that my first taste of alcohol was from him. You know, so I did not do all those things. It looked attractive when I saw single girls doing it, but I was preserving myself to do all this groove inside marriage.
But now,
I wear bomb shots now. If anybody says anything out, it's not your business. I did not play as a single girl.
I am married to a man who doesn't like me going out to eat. So I thank Lord Almighty that there was no restaurant in Lagos or anywhere else. So today, I'm married to somebody that he feels that 30,000 wants to go and use in the house. So I'm not missing going to restaurant, because I've been there, done that.
That's why I said that there's no relationship is not universal. So I knew who Mr. Mark was. And I knew we were going to groove the groove before we got married. You know, so yes, I knew his nature. I knew that he would not have any issue with me wearing my off-shoulder or me wearing my tube dress. Because I knew who he was. I knew that I could do all the things I could not do before marriage with him. My parents would not allow me wear half of what I wear right now as a single girl. They wouldn't allow it. But I married
different strokes.
No,
as you said,
because
the things that they did not allow you to do as a single girl, you just look for the person that will give you freedom to fly.
Nyma, before I got married, I used to travel every year. You can't tell my husband, okay, this money we've gathered now, you want to go and looking for what reason? Because there are things to do, there are bills to pay. So he's totally like, now, travel is not our priority. He would not allow them. But before I got married, I was traveling.
Morayo, this is what I wanted to say to when that caller called about the girl that...
yes.
There are certain things that we put into relationships that are meant for marriage.
Say it again. I missed it.
Again.
Too many things, too many emotions, attributes, behaviors, investments in ourselves that are meant for marriage that we put into relationship. What do you have to prove to somebody that is asking you to marry you? You honor me by approaching my family honorable. You don't give my family the impression to ask them, you do all the training we give you. See the way you are just speaking, you know? And when the person comes to your family and it changes, because people change, people pretend forever. Madam, open the door forever to a divorce. Plan. As a young girl, I had plans for if I would divorce, if there were children involved, what would do, why I would push my career, why I must have a career. I'm a woman that loves to be pampered. The only reason I'm pushing to have a career is if life happens.
Okay.
So don't say because you don't want life to happen, you give somebody 9 years. The person can still...
No, but that your
let nobody make you...
is a strong
Let
one.
nobody make you house girl for his wife in future. You would have done all that you need to do for your husband.
Don't give in a marriage what is meant for. I mean, don't give in a relationship what is meant for marriage.
Yinka, is there? Oh, I think we lost Yinka. I do apologize.
That was huge.
Yes.
So I hear everyone. I hear the wearing bomb shorts and the traveling and everything. And that's good. It's good to marry people of like minds. That's important. But beyond
you don't
that...
get a like mind.
No.
Life will happen to you.
Well, you will.
Minds aren't always perfect.
You will meet people that you have common... You should meet someone that you have common interests.
Oh, certainly.
So that's basic foundation. But above all, please, look for kind people. Look for people who are considerate. Look for people who are respectful. Because many times we may have all these wants and, these wants, these things, they come and go. But if it is based on the foundation of, I understand you, let me hear you out, and then we can have a conversation from there. You need to talk to someone who is a bit open-minded, who can have a conversation with you and is willing to see your side. That's the sort of person you should go into a marriage with, because when whatever now comes to you within that marriage, it is based on that sort of character that you would solve everything. This is a person that first is looking out for my interest. This is a kind person, so he's not doing anything that will hurt me. This is someone that is open to conversation and willing to see my side. So whatever happens concerning the bomb shots and the traveling, we discuss it within that,
God will bless you.
Like so for me, I have become that, okay, we are not going to dinner.
He will shock you.
I've accepted that, okay,
But
this is
you
our
are
life.
not taking you
That
once in a while.
Yeah, but you see, life would happen to you, and you just accept whatever life throws at you.
But
Let me take this call, Moyo.
Yes.
Moyo from Oyo, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes. You see, the mistake that I made, and what I see a lot of younger people make it, younger women make it, is that they struggle to get married. They don't struggle to stay married. It's not just about the getting married. After that stage, another life starts again. So that's the core of the issue. The man knows who he actually wants to get married. So he likes the most the whole of my life. If he wants to marry you, he will marry you. He's about what he wants and what is attracted. So just be you. The man that is your sex, the man that is like-minded with you, that reasons like you. Instead of wearing an actor character that you are not, you're not going to attract somebody that is not your type, and then that goes to his back.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Moya.
What Miriam said earlier is extremely important in the kindness. I loved courtesy. I love brilliance. I love respect. And respect is that you will not ask me to do something that will kill me. I'm telling you this thing, please. You're saying, if you don't love me, if you love me, you have to go, well, auntie, uncle, you don't respect me. If I say I don't want to do, if you respect me, you leave me alone. So a lot of times, I had a cousin. We all knew this was the man for her. And the only reason she did not marry him is that, I just don't like him. It's not my spec. This was a man who practically worships the floor she walks on. Respects her, respects family, and all of us were just saying, Lord, at least she would just be cared, pampered, loved. But the person she chose, is the way she chose her own. So now,
I was those struggling. The guy was this
Okay.
high. Okay. Talking about, I like you, like it. You like who?
Will you even get close?
He was, I mean, like, so.
But it's not a problem.
But he has a good.
He was everything, but the height is the problem. I just did not, I wasn't feeling the height.
And sometimes when you're younger, some of these things are important. When you're older, you look beyond this.
Maybe, but then, I said, bros, you're looking at the wrong person.
It's okay to have respect.
Let me take this call, then I'll come back to talk about. I don't know, I lost the name. Hello, good morning, are you there? Moturai, are you there? Oh, I'm so sorry, I lost that call. Go ahead.
So let's take
let's take you on YouTube. Wait, pause. Let's take YouTube.
Kofo Allah Davis said, ladies, don't go into any senseless relationship that is not leading anywhere. Just have friends, and when you are ready to marry, then you make a choice and move on. Someone is accusing all of us that we not tired before. That's Thomas. And we are forming saints here. Well, that's your story, not ours. Andrew says, why would you commit suicide because of a man? He doesn't understand that. PJ Comedian says, I beg, this red flag thing in relationship is either ways. So.
Yes.
You see the red flag for man, now so it did for woman too. Many people don't ask key questions while dating, and it's very futuristically dangerous. Ola Juwon says, from experience, good men with good intentions and who declare their intention to marry right from the point of meeting often suffer because most ladies want to beat around the bush. Case of my cousin.
So I want to say that many of us don't prepare for marriage, and nobody prepares us for marriage, but we prepare for every other thing in life. There are books about marriage. Of course, when you get married, you still discover a whole lot more about life. But I think in the minimum, those few books about marriage, let young people take out time to read it. Read it when you're 18, read it when you're 19. You might not be ready to get married, but pick a book on marriage and read it. It gives you perspective. It gives you the list of insights, the list of values you should look out for. And it's very important. Another thing is, not all of us will discover ourselves before marriage. It helps when you know a bit, that self-awareness before you get married. It helps a whole lot. Of course, things will happen in marriage that might still shock you. You might change in marriage. It happens to all of us. Another very valid point is, if somebody wants to pretend for you, you can date that person for 5 years and you still don't know the person. If that person intends to pretend.
If I won't be married to a person.
And you can be married to a pretender and you will not know for a long time. So there is a part of spiritual, trust me, we go pray. This matter, we go pray. God will open
Thank you for taking us there. Let me take Shokwe and I'll come back to that. Shokwe from Shomolu, are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, just so I actually don't have any strong opinion about how long to date or, but I just want to share my own experience.
Please.
So growing up, I had a few, that I dated a few people, and I knew that it was not leading us anywhere, honestly. Because maybe secondary school, 200 level, so I knew it was not leading us anywhere. At the time, I became very serious with my career, as in my spiritual career, so I was just sucked into it, and I was not dating anyone until I knew that I was ready for marriage. And after that time, honestly, I was just looking for a man that was ready. I was not ready to go for any long courtship because I was already 28, already working in a bank, a chartered accountant. I thought I was ready. So I think these are the things that would make one not go into unnecessarily long relationships. When you go into one after the time you're ready, and you're also looking for somebody who is ready. So now, taking from what Temitope said earlier, that, the person I married was actually I was recommended to the person. So by somebody that knew me, a friend that went to school together, that said, come, I have a wife for you. So we did not even need to date for so long. And he also had told me about his friend that he knew that we'll be, we'll make a good husband and wife. So we met the last Saturday of February of that year, and we got married in November of the same year. And to the glory of God, will be 20 years this November.
Wow.
And
oh, we lost that, but I think that's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
So she corroborates what I used to say in the past, where you have, I think, when you're ready for marriage, you're ready. Marriage should be for mature people. Yes. So it's not like 21. I mean, it doesn't mean I cannot be mature at 21, but for me, I feel that at 28, 29, you are ready. You're a chartered accountant. You got a job. He knows you got a job, and you're well situated. Then you can answer.
At 22, I had a job. I had a makeup studio. I was earning money, and I was ready.
You hadn't seen life.
So but I was ready.
Because you're raised right. But some people are 21, you haven't seen life. So anything can throw things at you and can destabilize you.
Some people, what they have in front of them is marriage.
Yes.
Some people were raised
like that.
Raised for marriage.
Not
everybody was
so
raised like that.
Mount Rushmore says, Nyma, stop talking about divorce or anticipating it. If you think you're ready until it happens to you. I know this is a difficult conversation. Thankfully, this is a conversation that I put in my head at 16.
Yes.
Thankfully, you know why I say that? I witnessed 2, and I saw 1 result in death of domestic violence in marriage. And I wondered that with my faith that did not allow me dating, I will not even know the person. How do I find out if the person will beat me before I marry?
Exactly.
So I opened the door for myself. And I don't think it's a difficult door. It is the breaking table point. If you do it, I just leave you. Because I cannot deal with how you will now mature out of it. I can't be a test ground. And if women, women
mindset,
who have put themselves there, who have put divorce as a difficult thing, it's how you see things that they are to you. They have made it so difficult. You know, recently I was saying to my husband in a conversation that, if I just divorce you now, I'll take it. You say, me too, because this is a conversation regular. Me too, I will give you children, and maintenance is normal. We've had this conversation over and over. This is something I push in my husband's face so many times because of the kind of way I married. And so he just got to that point and said, even me, I won't put my children through back and forth. We'll just settle at a home and, you know. So these are difficult conversations.
Yeah.
It's a very tough one.
Your realities are different. I didn't have the pleasure of testing anybody. So the person I married, I kept saying, these are my options.
Yes.
These are my options, and I'm going to take them if I cannot deal anymore. So now when we face problems, because you know that option, you will sit with me and we'll deal with the problem. You will not leave the problem that I should be dealing with it.
Right, gotcha.
You know, talking about difficult conversations, we have the caller that said that, you know, there's some questions you should ask in the beginning. And one thing that I learned, although I learned it while in marriage, and I think it's important, is the financial question. And this is something that a lot of people are being advised to ask. You need to find out from the person that you're looking to be married to what their financial situation is, which is, do they have a job? Are they earning money? Do they have debt? Are they planning on paying, you know, and what financial plan payment plan do they have towards paying that debt? That's the conversation that's important, because whether we like it or not, we know we're married. Money plays a vital role in how sweet a marriage goes. And sometimes it's not really about having so much of it, but it's the management and mismanagement of it that affects the union. So it's important you understand that part of that conversation. I never had that. I was never advised that, but I think it's a good conversation.
So, yeah, very important conversation to have. And there are many tough conversations. Nyma mentioned one. Discuss the option of divorce. Discuss that this is an option I have, because sometimes both of you don't discuss it. You assume, and I want to always focus on the positive thing.
Divorce is not an option.
Divorce is not
cost the life.
Divorce is not an option, except my life is at risk. And my life is at risk is both physical and emotional. Because what does not kill me physically can be killing me emotionally. So we should have that conversation, so you know that I cannot take this. There are things I cannot take. It's not a regular conversation. Like when Nyma says, I put it in the front. I would not put it in the front, but it's a conversation that we should have. Money is a conversation that we should have.
Yes.
If you didn't have money conversation before marriage, have it in the marriage. Another conversation we should have is death. What would happen if any one of us dies?
Yes, that's another conversation.
It's a conversation you should have before marriage if you're not married. And if you're married, you must have it.
Having it.
I had to have that conversation this year. I had a conversation this year with my husband that I've had life insurance for a long time. But I told my husband, he needs to get a life insurance. If anything happens to me, you will collect money. That's the truth, because I've already made that preparation. Oga, you too, start paying towards a life insurance for the family. You know, so that we are covered if anything happens. Number one. Number two, write a will. What would happen if anything happens? Your family will come. Do you have a will? We're not children anymore. It's not that we will be discussing it every day. It's our breakfast conversation, but we have it and put it aside.
Marriage is now for mature people, because only mature people can have this kind of conversation.
I'll come to you, Nyma. Let me take Julie. Just holding. Julie, are you there? Hello, Julie, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You're live. Good morning. Go ahead, please.
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
I've been trying to call several times, but I've always been a challenge.
Okay, good.
The topic this morning I just want to contribute about is that things like this, sometimes relationships that take for long are not usually good. Relationships that are also on a short term are also not good. An example is this. Somebody got married, she met somebody around October last year, and by December they were already married, December 26th. And before we knew it, when they traveled, because the guy is not in Nigeria, just a neighboring country, do you know that marriage ended just 2 weeks after the marriage, because she got to know that the person was not even the person he was portraying himself to be. An example of myself, I met my husband through somebody. I heard somebody was saying she met her somebody through somebody. Somebody just told my husband that I will give you one, and that was all. So we became friends online. 3 months after we met, we dated for like a year, and then when I saw some flags, I called him. I said, nobody forced you into this, and because of that, you can go if you want to, so that you can also free me. So he left and I left. 5 months later, my husband started worrying and worrying and worrying. When he came back, he just proposed.
So they ended up getting married, I'm guessing.
We always hear, there are, like I said, there's no universal rule, but then wisdom is universal. So let us apply all the wisdom. And at this conversation that I'm having now, I didn't have it before marriage. Yes. I did not have the conversation. I discussed money before marriage because I had, we all come with that baggage of, different people come with baggage of, oh, your money is your money, you separate your money. Don't let your husband know how much you're earning. Always have a reserve that does not know about, So, but I went through marriage counseling and I was rejigged into make it very open. Don't let your parents give you baggages into your marriage. Don't bring your parents' experiences into your marriage. Give each other the opportunity to discover if it works or if it doesn't work. And so in that marriage, we have evolved our finances, but I decided not to take that advice as I was given. So, but even if you don't discuss it before you got married, maybe you were not mature enough. At this point in your life, find a way. Maybe you play this video. Maybe you play your view for your husband or your wife, so you can have that conversation.
I wanted to talk about the phobia around wills. So a friend was talking to her husband and said, okay, do you have a will? Don't you think it's about time? Because they built years of business together. They have a family business. And he was like, I've always known you wanted to kill me.
Yes, so that's conversation that
let's normalize these conversations. For women, Muslimas, I say it wherever I speak, that we don't have the luxury of dating, having sexual exploitations before we marry. Auntie, find your options and take them. One option is you go to counseling. You know how life counseling, marriage counseling is, how difficult it is for women. Women are always in that counseling alone. When is the couple conversation? It's your spouse and you, two of you building your family goals, and it looks strange. And somebody will say, why did you... You put that, and you put another option. If we have a problem that is plaguing both of us in this marriage, whether it's my attitude or your attitude problem or our behaviors, and it's affecting me mentally, I can't cope, I can't deal, we have to go for life counseling. If you say no for the marriage counseling, can I please go? Can I take a break? Can we deal?
Something else.
And this is not conversation that you rub in the person's face, because I don't want that impression that I rub it in. These are conversations that you use to solve problems. Marriage is about a business that all parties must be hands on, all hands must be on deck to work at. Nobody will be breaking it in one corner.
This quick question: a man with 4 wives, how does he do marriage counseling?
With the partner.
With 4 wives.
With the partner who has a problem.
What if it's
See, this is how it
problem
works.
is
So the
something that
first
affects.
wife, most times, are the large-chested, can accommodate anything. Wives, they take everything, and then one small wife come. Maybe she was, for most arranged marriages, she didn't even have the luxury to say whether she would want to have the other wives or how she would respect them, or those realities. And you are making this demand. You take the girl and yourself to a marriage counselor of your faith bias, who helps you people walk through life, and then you have things defined. When you have emotions and realities and problems defined, you know how to face them. Unlike you just expect the person to float, throw the person in the water. If you like swim, if you like swim.
Let me address what you said earlier, because
issues.
it's important that we clarify. Because you said something about that you don't have the luxury of dating, but it's important to let people know that some of us that had the luxury, it wasn't as if we had sexual intercourse.
Dating.
No,
Exactly.
there was no sexual intercourse. I had fun dating, but I was very clear to preserve myself till marriage, and that's exactly what I did. So, because I said I'm dating doesn't mean that we're all sleeping around.
Papa already made that clarity.
I
was reading some of our comments, people finding it difficult, and I'm not going to come and explain my chastity to anybody. It's only for my husband.
Yes.
But the reality is that for most of those women in that space, that you now find sexual compatibility a difficult conversation to have. I was just lucky. Sexual compatibility was something that was of my husband's exposure, and he would worry, how do you ask. And these were conversations that are normal in my own marriage. It's not normal in most marriages that I have to counsel. They'll say, why is she even asking? Who did she test?
Yeah.
Or who is her friends? You start breaking the woman's friends because she's not just feeling the way the sex is in that marriage, and she's trying to express that it's pain for me.
Also,
this and that for me.
Also, not all referrals work. Some referrals are great. Let us be careful. Let's be careful.
Still do your own.
And it's okay, normal to discuss.
So
any
we have to
problem
wrap
with
up. So our final words on what Mr. Okonkwo said, which is that does a man know when he meets you that it's time to settle down? And if he does, how best can a woman make best use of that
I've shared so many things.
Shared a lot of things. But just as he knows, you know.
Exactly.
Don't waste your time.
Yes, I agree with that. So don't wait for because the way it's couched is the man knows that he's
choosing again.
Yes, you too. You should know when you meet someone that this is the person you can end up with. It's a choosing game. I choose you, you choose me.
Right.
I'll go with praying. Honestly, I would go with praying because for me, based on my faith, everything has to be filtered through the lens of prayer and God guiding me, because I cannot make a wrong decision with that marriage. So after we do all the investigation, then we start with prayer and then we end it with prayer.
There's even a part of my own faith that says, don't let the emotions come in. That's why you tick. Don't let the emotions come in before you start praying, because you will cloud whatever you're asking.
One of the things that helped me is to ensure that I didn't have sexual intercourse, because that sometimes beclouds your judgment. Once your emotions are into it, it's difficult for you to remove yourself. That's why in 3 months, I'm done. My mother let's move on. Many years ago, we've broken up because it was easy for him to go.
Most men will break up within 3 months anyway.
Trust me, a lot of them. I was changing them like newspaper because we're not doing anything. They of course, they got tired and frustrated. So don't get in the emotional time, because that stops you and beclouds your judgment. I could see through because I knew that I wasn't there. I'll tell you from day one. I'm not doing, okay.
I thought they would think they can still convince you.
They can see, until you're convinced, they move on. So please
scheme their ways.
Enjoy the time you have as a young person. I would say enjoy this period. Date, have fun, but they can also use stopwatch system of be friends and then finally choose. But either way, pray. Either way, pray. Because I prayed. I had a list. In fact, I was very descriptive. I wanted. The only thing God did not answer my list is first. I wanted a dark skin guy. God got a fair skin. Every other thing,
I was still praying for a breakup in case it will not work in future.
Everything on my list, every single thing, God answered it. I wanted somebody from OAU who was very specific. I wanted somebody that had a nuclear family. I wanted somebody that was a lawyer. It was too specific. I wrote it on I had a prayer book. Because I was using a scripture. Per line, I was using a scripture to pray. So I was skabashing. Don't even leave it. The skabashing part, it was skabashing. But please, as you're skabashing, don't be sinning on the side. It won't work. Have a lovely weekend. We'll see you Monday.
Nice way to close it.
I like it.
Don't sin on the side of prayer.
Yes, don't be sinning.
I'll let you take you.